Hey there, Feitschenk here, and over the last round about 11 years I have developed a method and approach to marketing we call no-yuck marketing, and it is all about client attraction minus the hype, minus the pressure, minus the salesiness. And what we found out, or what I found out through bitter experience, I used to sell financial products, and it was horrible because we were forced to use objection handling and sales scripts and all this kind of stuff, which is basically all this yucky stuff. What I found out is basically the answer lies in the genius or the wisdom of Peter Drucker, who once famously said that the aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous. Now, the reality is a lot of people pay lip service to this. They say, yeah, of course I want to do marketing. I don't want to be selling. But hardly anyone actually does it. In reality, when you look out in today's marketplace, almost all supposedly marketing is really dressed up selling. And that includes almost every single client attraction program out there. Because every single time you see something like urgency and scarcity and bonuses and emotional hot buttons and copywriting and power words, that's selling. Even educational selling or consultative selling, it's all selling. As the name suggests, there's selling in there. It's not marketing. And Peter Drucker was totally onto something, but unfortunately no one is actually doing it. And that's exactly what no-yuck marketing is about, how to do this in practice. So how do you make, or why do you make, or want to make selling superfluous? Well, A, it feels good because you no longer need to sell, obviously. But there's a real underlying reason, and that is this proper marketing pre-qualifies your prospects. Anyone coming into your funnel is pre-qualified, and anyone is or who's not a good fit, you will disqualify. You will respectfully reject them in a very subtle way. No one goes, oh, I'm being rejected here. And as a result, you don't even need to pre-sell, because those who get to the end of your, let's call it funnel, of the process, are pre-sold on the idea because they are qualified. Not because you employed some ninja tricks and some reciprocity plays, but they are uniquely qualified to benefit from what you've got. So, how do you do it in practice? The big answer, the big secret to Peter Drucker's approach of saying, we do marketing, not selling, is to answer something we now call unanswered questions. And these are questions people ask themselves when they are, and now pay attention to this, when they are looking for a solution to a problem. I specifically didn't say when they are making a buying decision. There are parallels between the two things, but the fundamental attitude, the approach is very, very different. Because when you look at something as someone is trying to solve a problem, how can I help them? You look at the whole situation from a very different perspective, namely their perspective. But when you go in and look at this from, well, they are making a buying decision, a purchasing decision, you're constantly looking at it from your perspective. And I'll give you one example here. There are different ways of formulating sales and buying decision cycles, etc. One of them is the famous Aida Formula, where in the beginning you have something, getting attention or raising awareness. When you have a sales, a buying cycle-oriented approach or view of the world, you think of this as, how can I get their attention, raise their awareness? And then, of course, the next steps are, well, how can I get them interested? And how can I supercharge, how to get their desire to boiling point? So then they are basically compelled to take action. How can I get them to take action? And this is where those things come in, the hot buttons, the urgency, the scarcity, all of those things. So when you look at it from a buying cycle perspective, you're almost forced to use this yucky stuff, the sort of salesy stuff out there. Now, if we switch this over to the unanswered question approach, it's very, very different. So as an example, I just picked out the desire from the Aida Formula. The old way would be doing things like painting pleasing pictures and using toward and away from motivation. You find the hot buttons, you find the stuff that keeps them up at night, you find the things they dream about, you get them imagining, using NLP patterns, all of these good things. And yes, granted, a few people will, enroll. So 3% is a good standard sort of number for people who then finally give in, if you like, and go and take action. The no-yuck marketing approach is very, very different. You now look at what is actually underlying desire. We don't look at it as something we manipulate, but we look at the underlying reasons why there might be desire and why there might be not desire. Because when you look at the literature, you look at what really is underlying desire, it is something called self-efficacy. And it's a fancy term for saying, I can do this. When you think about it, most people already know what it is they want. For example, when you're a coach and a client, a coach and a consultant, you want to get clients. You already know this. So if I go out and, as my desire play, tell you, well, I'm going to show you how to get clients, well, yeah, that is desirable, but that's what I wanted all along. However, knowing that you can actually do it is a hugely different thing. And that's the concept that is called self-efficacy in the literature. So there are always two sides to desire, and that is something, again, that's overlooked in the traditional sales approach. For example, attracting clients. What you want is, well, you want to get highly qualified clients so you can serve them, and then you get paid, not just serve them for free, and of course, avoid being salesy. So you might argue that avoid getting salesy or being salesy isn't away from motivation, it's the negative side. It's not. The real negative is kind of the pink elephant in the room for most coaches and consultants, and that is, what is stopping them? And it is really the question, well, is my stuff good enough? When you have your first handful of clients, when you bring out a new service, a new program, a new something, that is at the back of most people's minds. Is my stuff good enough? This is the point where you now do proper marketing. Because you as a, in this case, okay, me, I could say, well, I have two options. I could either say, I will help you with that, the stopping you question, namely, well, I appreciate that you are not quite 100% sure that your stuff is good enough, and I'm going to help you. Or I could say, I'm aware of this, but I choose not to help you. I focus entirely on those who are, who will deal with this on their own terms, and I will only focus on getting clients. Now, you as a prospective client could then look at this and go, well, it is very, very important to me to get over this hurdle of my stuff isn't good enough, and hence I will choose to work with someone who can help me with this particular issue, as opposed to someone who says, I choose not to provide that service. I hope you see the dynamic of this. There is no persuading going on. There is no glossing over big gaps, because that's what most marketing does, or most selling, really, that's what it is. They go in and say, well, don't you worry, it'll be just fine. And I've been there, I've done this. I've enrolled in really expensive courses, $8,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, with big promises. Oh, don't you worry, it'll all work out fine. And then you go in there and go, ooh, there is a major obstacle, and it's because they never addressed it. And this is how you pre-qualify in a very ethical, in an open, authentic way, your prospective clients. They can decide for themselves that, I need this. I absolutely want it, and you are choosing to provide it or not provide it. And as a result, I can now make that decision. Alrighty, there you go. Would you like more? That's the big question here. And guess what? There's nothing for sale at this point here. I've been doing this for 11 years now. I started out selling financial services, hated it, and that's why I developed this whole approach here. I have plenty of testimonials. I'm more than happy to share those with you. What I'm trying to say is this stuff actually works. Alrighty? So, if you're interested, please leave a comment down below. Not just in the sense of, yeah, I want to know more, but actually think about it. What is it you would like to know more about? Is it the underlying questions? Is it the core concept of value and how to provide it? There might be totally different things, like, is there technology involved? That might be a major question for you. You might be worried about, will I have certainty that something comes out? Everyone has different questions, so make sure you have a quick think. What's the real question you have at this point? And ask. Obviously, in sales and trickery, you might now think, oh, look, he's just trying to get out what I'm really struggling with, and then he solves it for me. Well, in a way, yes, that's what it is. I know this stuff works. My clients know this stuff works. I can help you, but I can help you best if you tell me what it is you're struggling with. There you go. It's a win-win. So if you'd like to, know more, leave a comment down below. I'd also appreciate it, of course, if you get value from this, to share this with people who would also benefit from this. Do you have colleagues, do you have friends who are in the coaching, consulting niche who hate being salesy and they would benefit from something like this. I mean, even I hope this video in itself is useful because you see that there are alternatives, and I've even given you some hints on how to do this. And incidentally, I'm going to give you most of what it is you need to do in follow-up videos if there's enough engagement and people want to know more. Alrighty, so leave a comment down below. And the big promise is, and that's the premise of No Yuck Marketing, of course, that I will treat you with respect. There's no selling. I can guarantee there is no urgency and no scarcity. When you're ready, and I'm here. Alrighty, cheers.